Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Despite what many are calling another lackluster season, the Clemson Tigers still check in at number 13 in our way too early Gridiron Expert Top 25. And today, guys, we're going to take a look at Clemson's schedule for 2023 to see if maybe they can get over the hump, see if they can avoid another lackluster season, and maybe finally get back to the college football playoff. So again, guys, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We're so glad that you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. That includes our expert picks, which will be around year long. You do not want to miss out on that. That offer will stand all year long, so you check it out. Get the link down in the description below, guys, because here at the Gridiron Expert, football never dies. The football season never dies. It never ends here at the Gridiron Expert. We're talking college football with you 24/7, 365. We want you to become a part of our GE Nation. So like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future videos and become a part of the GE Nation and what we're building right here at the channel. So you take a look at Clemson, guys. We said lackluster year, right? Because in 2021, they had a double-digit win season, but they didn't even make the ACC championship game. Clearly didn't make the college football playoff. 2022 rolls around. They go 11-3, another double-digit win season. They reclaimed the ACC. They won the ACC championship over North Carolina, but still didn't make the college football playoff. If had they beaten South Carolina in the season finale, maybe they would have had a shot to get into that Final Four. The Tigers finished out their year with a 31-14 beatdown against Tennessee in the Orange Bowl, which kind of left a sour taste in the Tigers' mouth. DJ Uyunglele bolted ship. He's at Oregon State, which means all up to Cade Klubnik. It is the Cade Klubnik show at Clemson now, and luckily he has one of the best offensive coordinators in the business at Clemson in Garrett Riley, a move that shocked just about everybody in the college football world. Garrett Riley is now the OC at Clemson with a very dangerous quarterback at his disposal. But can Clemson and Klubnik get back to the college football playoff? Well, we take a look at their schedule, and it's pretty favorable. It's pretty favorable. Unlike many of the other teams that we've previewed already, there does not appear to be a key stretch in Clemson's season. A stretch of games where you look at it and you go, that could be tough. That could be 3 or 4 games where you're like, that's going to define their season. Instead, for me, there's just a handful of those games spread out over Clemson's schedule, which is good, that they're not all clustered into one group, but they're kind of spread out over the course of a couple of weeks. So you take a look at the schedule. We'll open up with the Labor Day game at Duke. First game of the year, ACC conference game against a Duke team that was very surprising in year one under Mike Elko. Won their bowl game over UCF, and they return a very solid quarterback in Riley Leonard. So this is a Duke team that Clemson cannot afford to overlook. And with Clemson trying to still maybe find their offensive identity, it's a game where if they start slow, Duke could put it to them and make this game a lot closer than people maybe expect. I think many are going to expect Clemson to win this game. They cannot afford to overlook Duke. If that happened 2-3 years ago, sure, overlook them. Be like the Georgia Tech game last year. But you cannot afford to overlook the Blue Devils and what Mike Elko's doing with his team. So that's going to be big game number one. Season opener, new OC, Cade Klubnik has full reign. This is a big statement game for Clemson in 2023. Charleston Southern, Florida Atlantic, okay, moving on. Florida State, boom, that's the big one. To me, that is the biggest game on Clemson's schedule because we know how good Florida State can and probably will be in 2023. This is a team that finally kind of hit their stride under Mike Norvell, won that thrilling bowl game over Oklahoma. They returned Jordan Travis and practically their entire offense from last year. The defense really starting to pick up steam with a lot of returning starters on that side of the ball too. You could make an argument that entering 2023, Florida State, not Clemson, is the best team in the ACC. This game, of course, will determine that, right? Clemson did beat the Seminoles 34-28 last year. Luckily for the Tigers, they get to host the Seminoles. So the game will be in Death Valley. This will be one of those marquee matchups, maybe of the entire year in the ACC, and it's going to happen just week 4 of the season. So to me, this is the biggest game of the year for Clemson. We know the ACC got rid of divisions. Top 2 teams are going to the conference championship game, right? So there's a chance this could be the first of 2 meetings between the Tigers and the Seminoles. But you really don't want to have a 1 in that loss column this early on in the year. You want to try to make sure you save that room for error for later in the year because there are other contenders in the ACC that could threaten for a top 2 spot now that divisions are gone. And even if divisions weren't gone, this game alone would probably determine who would win the ACC Atlantic. So the game against Florida State is huge. Clemson won last year. It's in Death Valley. That's the one. That's the one. Not a key game stretch, but that's the big one. And Florida State is the real deal. We haven't even previewed them yet. Could be in our top 10. You're just going to have to wait to find out. After Florida State, on the road at Syracuse, they survived the Orange by 6 last year. Carrier Dome has provided some struggles for Clemson in recent years. They lost there, I believe, back in 2017. Narrowly beat Syracuse there in 2021. Narrowly escaped Syracuse last year in Death Valley. So don't sleep on the Orange. They lose a lot of starters from last year as well. Wouldn't expect them to be as good as they were last season. Wake Forest does not have Sam Hartman, so Wake Forest kind of dealing with some changes over in Winston-Salem. Clemson won in Winston-Salem 51-45 in double overtime last year. Now it's in Death Valley. Again, I think many would pick Clemson in this game. We're going to predict Clemson's record later on in the offseason. They get their bye week at a good time, right before a bit of a tough stretch. To me, the toughest stretch would probably come right here at Miami, at NC State, and then Notre Dame. I mean, Miami's not going to be an easy place to play. This is a team under Mario Cristobal that we expect to be a little bit better in year 2 under Cristobal. Really needs to take off in year 2 because we know Miami fans are not patient by any means. Clemson beat the Hurricanes by 30 last year, 40-10. But now it is in Miami. It is at Hard Rock. It's going to be a little bit tougher, and we expect Miami to be a little bit better. So a much more competitive game this time around. Clemson, though, does get a bye week, though, which is going to benefit them. NC State, Clemson beat them 30-20, but we've seen the Wolfpack hang with the Tigers from time to time. Dave Doeren, never want to underestimate his squad, but last year was the year that NC State needed to beat Clemson. A lot of defensive starters back, had Devin Leary. He's off now to Kentucky. Things are kind of not falling apart for NC State, but this could be a bit of a rebuilding year, but can't afford to overlook them on the road. And then Notre Dame. That's a big one, right? I mean, this is a big opportunity for Clemson to get some revenge. They get to host the Fighting Irish in Death Valley, which is key because last year in South Bend, Notre Dame's defense put on a clinic and killed Clemson 35-14. So this is another big game. The 2 toughest games on Clemson's schedule to me are Notre Dame and Florida State. 2 biggest games on their schedule, Notre Dame and Florida State, and they both are in Death Valley. Very beneficial for the Tigers. But Sam Hartman now at Notre Dame, so they're going to have a competent quarterback there now. Not to say that Drew Pine and Tyler Buckner were not, but Sam Hartman is an upgrade. Marcus Freeman doing a great job there. The Fighting Irish could be playoff contenders, especially with the way they finished 2022. Tough game for Clemson here. Not a conference game, but could have playoff implications for both teams. Georgia Tech shouldn't be an issue. They beat the Yellow Jackets 41-10. North Carolina, they beat the Tar Heels 39-10 in the ACC championship game. But again, face another great quarterback in Drake May, a UNC team that is in our top 25. We've already previewed North Carolina, but they're a team that could hold their own against Clemson. But again, Clemson gets to host this game. So you look at the schedule. They get to host Florida State. They get to host Notre Dame. They get to host North Carolina. So 3 of the toughest games they're going to have, 3 of the best quarterbacks they're going to face, they all have to come to Death Valley. How fortunate for Clemson this year. That's huge for the Tigers and their playoff hopes and trying to rack up some big-time wins, especially in conference play. So huge for them on senior night against UNC, and they round up the year, of course, at South Carolina, a team they lost to 31-30 in the season finale last year. The game that, had Clemson won, could have gotten them into the college football playoff, possibly. South Carolina certainly ruined any chance of that happening. They're going to face a solid South Carolina team. Shane Beamer doing a phenomenal job in Columbia. Spencer Rattler returns for another year. So this is one of those games where, again, if Clemson is undefeated or a one-loss team, they very well could be facing a top 25 South Carolina team in the season finale with Clemson's playoff hopes possibly on the line again for the second straight year. They cannot afford to overlook South Carolina. To me, I mean, there are probably 4, we mentioned the 4 biggest games are Florida State, Notre Dame, North Carolina, and South Carolina. Those are the 4 biggest and toughest games on Clemson's schedule. 3 of them are at home. This is a big year for Dabo Swinney and the Tigers. They've won 21 games over the last 2 years. Many teams would kill for that, but the expectations in Death Valley are playoff or bust right now. They need to get back. They have the schedule to do it. Now all we have to do is just sit back and wait. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Let us know what you think Clemson will do in 2023. What will their record be? Will they get back to the college football playoff? Let us know down in the comments below. Again, we want you guys to become a part of our GE Nation because here at the Gridiron Expert, football never, ever dies. Never ends, never dies. Season never ends. This is the place for you. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.